Players at the ready. Are you ready? Are you ready? On my release.
Tonight, I'll be eating roasted cauliflower tacos with spicy chipotle sauce. Thank you. Oh! Yeah! I wasn't ready!
You want cheese to go with that wine?
Good evening, air hockey fans. We are going to be watching the Scott Arnold versus Kai Musick game right now. Number 7 in Idaho versus number 10, and I'm accompanied here by Caleb.
Welcome everybody to this fun-looking game. Kai versus Scott. Here they go.
Scott takes first possession, goes for the shot, goes for the cross, immediately scores a point. Kai used to be one of our best players. She had played for a long time. She had a ton of experience. She even got taught by Sarah Wiseman, who came in from Texas. The problem is, with her new work schedule, she hasn't been able to play in about a year. And so she is out of practice, whereas Scott, who came in after she left, he's gotten a ton of practice. And so right now, he is the expected winner. Ooh, she gets him on a beautiful cross there.
Nice clean shot. Scott taking a couple slow shots to start, testing out the waters.
Switching to his left hand, goes for the straight. Brings it back. Goes for that. Oh, she blocked it. But she loses possession.
Control.
If you'll notice, there is a poll that's about to show up that's going to give you the option to vote on whether you think Scott is going to win this game or Kai. Now, once again, Scott is the expected winner, putting Kai as the underdog, but back in the day, she was a force to be reckoned with. And so we'll see if she's able to tap into that old experience and if that's going to be able to best Scott's current experience.
Yeah, I'd really like to see the kind of energy that they're going to put out in this match. I mean, right now they're just kind of feeling the waters, taking some nice clean shots, and you know, what we like to see in the first match, just a good clean back and forth, feeling it out, and then you know, eventually one of them is just going to pop off.
I mean, I think it's agreed. What you see at the very start of every game is a lot of pre-game jitters. You see a lot of like the very initial game jitters. They're nervous. They're afraid that it's just going to be a blowout game. But then when they start realizing, wait a second, I can block these shots, right? Like Kai was pretty nervous about this game because this is the first challenge match that she's played in a very long time. It's been, I think, a year. And the last challenge match she played, she won, but that was well over a year ago, I believe. Yeah. So, ooh, she's actually up in the lead right now, 1-2.
Well, how fun is it to see you know, a player return and just come back and already right to start, you know, 2-1.
Ooh, lost a mallet. Possession goes to Scott. Ooh, you know,
what do you call that there when she used the side of the
puck? You know,
puck?
I don't even know if I have
paddle?
a word for it, but you don't see it very often. We used to use it a lot. Players way back in the day used to use that, but you don't see it very often because it's easy to accidentally top the puck, which means like putting the mallet on top of it. But it's kind of fun because I don't think he's used to that.
Right, so seeing that might make you think she's going for a different shot, and then suddenly it comes right back with a reshot, you know.
Scott in the lead now. Fantastic.
Right
Ooh,
back
she
at
comes
him.
right back. He got her with the right wall under.
3-3, and you can see that it is starting to heat up on that table.
We have right now the poll just got posted. Ooh, he got her with that left-handed cut. There's a poll that's right now, so take a second if you're watching this to go ahead and partake in the poll to see who you think is going to win this game. I will say that normally it's a very easy decision for me to pick. This one's really difficult because it's brand new experience versus old experience. And you know, Kai is also not a regimented player. Scott is very by the book, you know, like right there, that's very textbook air hockey, and he's doing a good job with that, whereas Kai is more of a loose cannon, and she's going to do basically anything. And even the best players can be taken down by just a random shot, and she does a lot of those random shots.
Yeah, I noticed that she does. She does shoot. She shoots left side, right side, down the center, and it's good to see a lot of different shots. I will say that it seems like Scott definitely takes the puck up higher on the field, and in some ways that's good. Some ways it's bad. I noticed that he'll lose a lot of the strength in his shot if he lets it go too far. So it seems like the puck is going slower, but then again, it's shorter distance.
Right. I mean, he likes to bring it up close to the line. The problem is that he likes to bring it really close to the wall, and it only gives him a few shots. It's something that Scott's been told by some of the biggest pros out there. They say, hey, don't go too close to the wall. You want to keep a sweet spot. Or if you do go really close to the wall, make sure you have, shots that can accompany it. Ooh,
that was really incredible play right there. She held on after 7 or 8 shots, and then came back and just sent it. But he sends it right back to her.
Scott gets possession back. This could be the end of the game. Or is she going to tie it up? Remember, we're watching a best 2 out of 3 sets, and it takes 4 games to win a set. And this is the very first one here. Scott taking his time, sets it up, goes for that cross. It's blocked. Oh, goes for the cross and makes it. He takes the first win, 7-5.
Not a bad first round. I mean, 7-5. That's really respectable, and we'll see what happens in the next rounds.
You can see Kai clapping for him. That's really close, though. And right now, we can see in the poll, it's actually equally close in the polls right now. We got 71% to 29%, but we just started. Usually, we get a lot more votes as soon as people start tuning in. Caleb, you just played against Kai a little bit ago to help warm her up. What are your thoughts?
Well, she seems like she's a pretty good player. She takes a lot of different shots, which is hard to compensate for. I would like to see a little bit more fakes and speed. It's good to keep control of it, and overall, I think she's a pretty good shooter. So, with a couple more fakes in there and a little bit more speed, I think she'd be able to take the table. And then again, like with Scott, he brings it up to the line, which can be good, and he does some fakes. I like to see his fakes. He's doing a good job there. But I do think, like we were saying before, I think he takes it a little too close to the line sometimes, and he kind of loses some momentum. And I think, a lot of players would capitalize on that and take possession of the puck.
Yeah. I think that we've got a lot of people in the chat rooting for Kai right now. We've got Joshua Campus saying, nice job, go Scott. And then he's also saying, go Kai. We got Vi commenting that, saying that, she's calm and smooth. I agree. Like, she really centers herself. We got Lol22 saying, let's go Kai. So there's a whole bunch of people in here that are rooting in the Kai camp. Here comes the second game here. First possession goes to Scott right out the gate. Goes to that right wall under. It's deflected. Switches hands to his left hand. Goes for the straight. It's blocked.
She did that nice stop again.
She did, but she didn't hit it hard enough. So that's going to be the things that, to get past Scott's reflexes, you got to be quick.
Right.
Scott's nickname is Alley Cat, and it wasn't because of his reflexes, more or less, but because every time you'd shoot against him, his shoulders would pop up like a alley cat, right? But then he lived up to his name because now he's got some really quick reflexes, so she has to hit the puck faster than he can reflex toward it.
Right.
Ooh, beautiful left wall under.
What do you call that when you stay in front of your goal and don't make hardly any movements?
When you're just
with the paddle.
Are you right next to the goal? Like, are you touching
no,
it?
No, you're up a little way, like where Kai is now, right?
Ooh, oh, that was close.
Like right there, where Kai is right now.
Okay, so that's called a disciplined defense. Now, you don't want to freeze up. If he gets it past you, then it's being frozen up. But that's a really disciplined defense, because that right there is going to block all the straights right there. If she had pulled all the way back, that shot probably would have made it. Ooh, she went for a right wall, but it went mid, so he was able to block it. One thing that, one of Scott's weaknesses that he's been working on is to not block in the dead center, and he pulled all the way back, and he's doing pretty good about that this game. Ooh,
nice shot.
That's a left wall over, and it was off speed. That's a brutal shot. And she sliced it.
Look at those stops. She's done a good job on pulling back and getting control of the puck after a straight shot from Scott. What I'd like to see for Kai is to actually move up sometimes when Scott brings it almost to the line.
Oh, here's different. She's going slow puck. She does an off goal. Oh,
Oh,
no!
unlucky.
Scores on herself. Okay, ixnay that plan. We got Fluffy Dragon Slayer in the
Nice
chat.
shot. There we go. Nice cut.
Fluffy Dragon Slayer saying she does have a really wide repertoire of shots, but I wonder if she's lacking any muscle memory from not being able to play. I agree. Her shots used to be very deadly, but a lot of her shots are not on goal. And that just goes, it's like riding a bike after not riding it. You remember how to, you remember all the pieces to it, but once you jump on a bike after not being on it for a few years, it still takes a bit before you're, cruising again.
Absolutely.
So now the question is she going to warm up in time before this match is over? But I will say she's giving Scott a run for his money.
Scott's got control of the puck. And he's been keeping really good control of it for a long time. But, Kai has a really great defense. I will say that muscle memory for her defense is there.
Okay, so watch this shot. Watch the replay. Watch her reaction. She's good defense, and then she just moved out of the way
fake
before he
got
hit
her.
it.
The fake
exactly.
got her.
And so when you're saying when she's just stuck there, I'm like that's discipline. That's good, as long as she moves when she needs to, but
Right.
not before. So like right there, that's good discipline in her case. See how far up she is? That's how you beat Scott. You'll notice most of his shots are straights, or they're so close to the wall that they count as a straight. So if you bring your defense up against Scott, you beat him. If you turtle, that's what they call when you pull your mattle all the way back. If you turtle against Scott, you're gonna lose. Beautiful cross.
Her crosses have been on point, and her I want to say it's the right wall.
This is game point right now for Scott. If he gets one more point, he takes a second game in the set. Ooh, he got her on the cut last time, or the cross last time. Let's see what he does this game. It's deflected. Can she tie up this game? Can she block this and take possession
Scott
back?
switches hands to the left hand, goes for a cut, doesn't quite connect. Taking multiple shots. He's slowing it down.
And she's blocking everything. Oh, she could have snagged that. Is she gonna get possession? He sets it up slowly, goes for the cut. She gets possession.
She gets possession.
Is she gonna tie this up right here? Oh, she goes for a left wall. It turns into a double wall, loses possession instantly. And Scott gets it with the cross.
5-7 once again.
That's a second 5-7 game in a row. You see how it brings it up over to the left side of the table and then just goes for the opposite side goal. It's called a cross. It's a very, very good shot to use. And it's the same one that got her on that last game. So we need to remember when we walk out there for, when we get to ask them questions while they're on the couch, we can bring that up and say, hey, like he's getting you on the crosses.
I noticed too, he seems to have a lot more time with the puck. And yeah, I would say generally the person who has the most time with the puck is going to make more shots and more goals.
Agreed. Scott's possession time right now, because if you saw that, he took, I don't want to exaggerate, but at least 10 shots before sinking one in. And so he had, every time you take another shot, your chance of getting a goal is pretty high.
Right.
And so if she doesn't steal it from him in all those shots, eventually one's going to sink, right?
It's like they always say, the best defense is a good offense. And so even though her defense is incredible and she's done a great job, you gotta be a little more offensive if you're gonna make more goals, more shots.
We got some comments in the chat right now. We have we got some people asking, just curious, what kind of music does Kai listen to? And somebody said Kai listens to anything but rap, because I believe they asked her. There's some people that are watching in the room right now that can just ask her live and just post it. The players get to see everything that you're writing. In fact, that's what they're looking at right now, is the screen that has all the comments. So if you guys want to give a shout out to any of the players, if you want to give them encouragement, give them some suggestions, maybe tell Kai to start blocking those crosses, this is where you would do that, right there in the chat. Also, thank you to everybody watching right now. Thank you for sharing this with your friends. Thank you for subscribing and liking, and thank you for commenting, because that really makes this a lot more fun for us commentators.
Absolutely. And here we go, game 3.
Ooh, scored right off the bat. Scott 1-0 now.
And that can really do some mental damage, when you're already down 2 games, to just get scored on off the release.
Agreed. I like her determination though. You know, because Kai is super fun. She's real bouncy. So is Scott, but not in this type of a game. They're very, very serious. There's no jokes.
Right.
Kai goes for that barrage now. You know, one thing that Kai's not doing is setting it up in the middle. See how Scott gets it back to the middle?
Yes.
And then he makes a shot, you know, but he still gets it back. But she's sort of shooting it from wherever she can. Ooh, great.
I also noticed that
cut.
Scott's moving a lot. He's really got a lot of energy right now. And maybe that might not work out in his favor in the long run. You know, Kai's saving her energy to come out later.
I'm open. You'll notice that shot that he just did was a cut shot. It was on the left side of the goal, whereas the one that he won both of the games was a cross side. And so if he's getting it with both of those two shots, she needs to bring her defense up a bit. Good block, good block. She stops it again. She loses possession. No. I think I'm going to start rooting for Kai on this one because I love to root for the underdog. She brings it up.
Don't we all?
She walks to the side of the table, scores on herself.
No.
Don't do that, Kai. No.
You know, one of the things I like seeing from Scott is the hand switching. You know, that's something that I also like to do. And, you know, I feel like it doesn't have a lot of benefit, but it does have a little bit of benefit. When you're in a tight spot and your opponent is starting to read your shots over and over, it's a good time to switch hands for a second, throw them off their game because you can throw new shots at them.
She scored on herself again. It's 5-0 right now. And then she loses possession. So here's the question. I mean, like, does this just mean that really the only person that warmed up was Scott? And now he's he's figured out her defense, he's figured out her offense, and now it's just going to go downhill from here. We'll see.
We'll see. You know, like I said, I see a lot of energy with Scott right now, and, you know, he's got a lot of time with the puck. But her shots are good and her defense good. I think, you know, it could still go any direction.
She just put a point on the board. Oh, and Scott comes back now 6-1. We got Stephanie Moore in the chat saying, this is a great game. Both players are so strategic and amazing. I agree. Let's see if he's able to finish her off or if she can pull off this win. That would be such an amazing comeback. I've seen it happen.
You know, and that's really when it becomes harder for the leader, right? Right now, Scott's doing good. He's got the momentum. But if she can take a game from him, the momentum can change just like that.
To deflate him. Agreed. Oh, he gets her with that cut. Oh, no, I'm sorry, the cross again. So you can see with our ruthless replay, you can see he gets her on that same exact shot that he's been getting her on. How he's finished every game. That's something to remember now. Okay, if it's ever he's at 6 points, he's going to go for that cross. I don't even know if he realizes it. He's only one game away now from taking the first set. If you look at the top of the screen, you'll see those three white bars showing that Scott's won 3 games, and neither of them have won a set yet. It's a best 2 of 3 sets. So if Scott wins this next game, he wins 1 set. He'll only need to win 4 more games to win the next set, and then this match will be over. And if that's the case, Kai would get kicked out of this tournament, and Scott would be going up against Peter Kai when that week hits. This is it's such a fun bracket, actually. I wonder if we have a second to show the bracket. Let's say we got 30 seconds. They might be jumping into the next game.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. During a match, so after the release and, you know, someone makes a goal, the person who's pulling the puck out, they can put it on the table and hit the puck immediately at any time.
Yep.
That's something that I haven't really seen a lot of.
The only restriction is that they have to place it on the table and let go of the puck within 10 seconds, which is a long time.
Gotcha.
It doesn't happen very often because it's sort of gimmicky, and if you just do it really, really fast without taking your time and aiming, then it's going to get stolen right away. They find that the more that they do that, in fact, when Texas came and visited for our Idaho State 2 years ago, that was our number one nitpick was they said, stop doing that. You're giving away possession. So like right there, Scott, you know, didn't take his time that much, and then he gave possession to Kai right off the bat. Got a lot of people voting for Kai. We got Evalie in chat saying, go Kai, I believe in you. You got 0-0, fresh slate. There's even some players that when it's like 5-0 or 6-0, they'll just score on themselves on purpose just to get the next game going because they don't want to waste their energy on that old game.
Right.
So let's see. There we go.
Back to back.
Beautiful cut.
Same shot.
Oh, and then he gives her a
twice
cross.
in a row. Can she do it again?
No. Oh!
There we go.
Okay,
2-2.
I'm going to have to say it. I hate to be mean to Kai, but that in the biz is what we call a garbage shot. It hit 2 walls. It wasn't intended. She did, nowhere in her mind did she think, I want this to hit 2 banks and go in. It's very hard to aim a double bank shot. Scott keeps possession. It's right now 2-2. Sets it up. Middle of the table. He shoots mid. Gets blocked. Goes for another middle shot.
She almost saves that and takes control, but doesn't quite back it
There
off
she goes.
enough.
Oh,
she doesn't reach
She
for it,
could have
though.
got that one. See if she rushed. If she had a better hustle, she
And
could
you
have
know,
got it.
I think what we have to contribute that to is just the, out of practice, right?
Muscle reflexes.
The muscle reflex.
muscle
She
memory,
hasn't been playing in a while. So, if she had, I do think that, if she had been playing a couple more games and had that muscle memory, she would actually be doing quite a bit better here.
Good shot by Scott. Putting him in the lead. Remember that he's
Scott
only...
loses control there. Very interesting.
Oh, no.
But then
he's
she
right now
owned it.
3 points away from taking this first set. She can't afford to lose this game at all.
Nice gaining back control there.
She got it back. She goes for the cut side. It's blocked. She goes for the cut again. It's just a little off. She's aiming a tiny bit too much in the middle. If she aimed it maybe a centimeter or two to the left, she'd be getting this in. See, like Scott has that side nailed in, like really dialed in.
Now, what would you say about the players holding their pucks? Because you got one who's holding it with 4 fingers in the backside, like Scott there, and then you have Kai who's kind of split fingering it.
So they're holding it almost the same way. The way that you hold your mallet is very important, but there's a lot of players that will actually change how they hold it during gameplay. Ooh, he's at 5 points now. And so it really just depends. I think that they're both holding it fine. I think if I had to choose between the two holds, I would use the one that Scott's using. Except right there, do you see how his pinky is in the mallet itself? I would not have my pinky in the mallet. My pinky would be out of the mallet. Which is also why my pinky still has black marks on it from Worlds 2 months ago. Because it got puck hit it dead on and it hurts so bad.
Do you find yourself smashing the walls all the time with your pinky as well?
Not anymore. I used to. I actually broke my finger playing once.
Oh boy.
It was my own fault. I smashed my finger against the side.
I mean, that's some true dedication, though.
There Kai goes, gets him on the cross. If she remembers that shot and knows that it's open, then that could be an avenue for success for her. Scott retains possession, goes left-handed, goes for the left wall under. It's
Gets
now
the fake.
set point to 3. Got a lot of people rooting for Kai in the chat. I'm seeing this right now. I see Kai's name all over. She blocks it. She sets it up. She looks up first. I like how she did that first. Oh no, she loses control on her own shot. Okay, she's got it again. Goes for the cut, nails
Takes a good
it.
amount of time for her shot. She's really taking her time on her shots. I think that's why she's getting these goals in compared to the last round.
That one almost popped out. There it is, left wall under. Scott takes the first set 7-4, which I mean is an improvement compared to last game. Last game was 7-1, and the two before that were 7-5. So I think that she's actually coming back.
Yes.
So that's good news. Right now the players are gonna go and sit on the couch, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go out there and ask them a question or two. And so right now, for all of you in the chat, this is the perfect time to go ahead and post something in the chat. If you want to ask the players a question, if you have anything encouraging to say, really anything goes. We have a lot of fun in the chat. We only sit there for a few minutes. Before I do that, I would love to take a moment to talk about our sponsors, Legacy Garage Door. These guys are incredible. I've brought it up a lot of times, and I can't wait to talk about them even more just because the day that I had to try to call... So Caleb, my garage door, the spring broke on my garage door, and it wouldn't open whatsoever, right?
Oh, that's not fun.
It was a Friday night. Well, I should say Friday afternoon. And so I had called roughly 6 garage door companies. None but one answered. And the one that answered said, sorry, that's going to be a lot. We're not going to be able to get out there until like Monday. Sorry. So then I called one more, and it was Legacy Garage Doors. It wasn't as popular. Didn't pop up at the very top of the list like Google, showed. But they answered the phone. They said, thank you for calling Legacy Garage Doors. How can I put a smile on your face today? And I was like, oh, that's different. And they showed up that day, even though it was Friday night, and fixed my garage that day. Give them a call, guys, 208-370-2747. They service the Treasure Valley area here in Idaho. They're amazing. I definitely
Sounds like exactly what you want to see in a company like that. You know, really going out of their way for their customers. You know, you have a problem, they find the problem, they fix it for you, and get you back up where you need to be.
It was awesome. And it wasn't even just that; it was a step-by-step process. So, all right, let's go out there right now and go and talk to the players. And if you're watching this right now live, then this is the best time to take advantage of the fact that you get to talk to the players live. So go ahead and put some comments and questions in there. We'll see you on the other side. This is like my favorite part. I love this part so much. We get the random comments from everybody. Okay, Kai, before Scott gets over here, listen. He's getting you on those crosses.
I know.
At the end of every single game.
Have always been my biggest struggle.
And so if you want to block the cross, basically you just need to stay firm. You're moving a little bit too far over, and it gets you on the cross, or too far one way.
The
So
other
if
thing
you
I would
want
say
to block
too,
that,
he brings it up to the line a lot, and if you just contest him every now and then, when he gets it up to like within, you know, this is the line here. When he gets to here, you should definitely put your. He has too much time with the puck. But other than that, your defense is solid.
you're letting go of it a lot. There's a
solid.
lot of times that you're letting it get away from you when you could jump out and get it back. And so you're letting him have a lot of possession. Like you're letting it get back to him constantly. Anyway, so he's a great player, blah, blah, blah. No, we're talking about your possession time is really high, Scott. Like you have a ton of possession time. I don't know if you even realize this, but at the end of every single one of those games, I don't know about the last one there.
Okay,
but
well, don't tell it.
I gotta be fair. He does the cross at the end of you do the cross. You killed on the cross, and it's almost perfect. It's actually hitting the edge of the goal and going in. It's even once hit her mallet and gone in. So it's this really dialed in cross that you've got. You hit her on the cut a few times, but that cross is your game finisher. Something I didn't realize about myself is that at the end of every game, I would do this right wall under. And George pointed that out to me one time. George Anderson was like, if you do another right wall under in a 6-6 game, I'm going to kick you so hard. And I'm like, okay, because he was reffing my game. He was mad that I was losing. So for you, I would say to shake that up a bit. And for you, Kai, expect that shot and get ready to block it and bring up your defense and stay planted, because most of his shots are those straight shots. How did you guys think about that, how that game went?
I think it went overall pretty smooth. I definitely have to stay focused. I kind of lost my voice a little bit, but yeah. So far, so good. Kai is a person you never want to underestimate, ever, in the game. If you do, you will lose. So, yeah.
It seemed like those first couple rounds was actually pretty close. You had her by a couple goals each match,
Yep.
and your energy level is pretty high. How are you feeling about the going forward?
Pretty good. She's definitely probably going to give it a lot more. She's taking advantage of my weak shots, which is good on her end to do that for her. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to have to stay focused and, dial my game in even more.
Okay, what do you think?
I'm comfortably close.
I think those first two games were going pretty okay. That third game was morale. That plummeted my morale.
Yep, a 7-1. Yeah.
But I think that if I can stop shaking, like I've been violently shaking the entire set. If I can stop shaking, I think I can at least get it close.
He's a beast. He's hard to beat. And so, getting those game jitters, they talk about that a lot. If you go back and watch a lot of the games where Danny Hines is commenting on it, and he's a 11-time world champion, he'll always bring that up at the start. He's like, both players are working on their game jitters, and it's almost always worse for the under-ranked player because that person's expected to lose, and so you're kind of walking up against Goliath, and so how are you going to take him down?
there's a bunch of chats that are popping through right now. A lot of them are.
Everybody's rooting for me. How do you feel?
You know,
How do you feel?
you got the vote for sure right now.
The poll.
What is the poll at right now?
64 me, 36 Scott.
That's
But
pretty
after
close.
the first game, I was looking at it. It was 75 me, 25 Scott.
Well, yeah, you can't let your fans down. You got to kick some.
I know.
You got a lot of people rooting for you in here because they want to see you win this one. They're saying, "Yeah, Kai, amazing shot, way to go." You know, you did get Scott. You still have your fans in there as well. It's kind of fun because I have to ask Kai. So my wife and you are the only female players that are or have ever been ranked in Idaho that I can remember. Was there another one? I'm gonna feel bad if I forget somebody.
Matt Taniguchi's wife.
Matt Taniguchi's wife. That's correct. So she was one as well. In the last year solid, it's just you and Jessica. How do you feel about being one of the only female players? What would you tell other female players to get them to join in?
It doesn't just take strength. That's the biggest thing is I'm not very strong in general, but when I first started out, you always told me focus on the accuracy versus the strength of the shot.
Yep.
And that's what got me I guess this far is I do my best, and I don't always land the shots obviously, but I try my best for accuracy because most of the time an accurate shot is better than a strong shot.
That's true. Against Scott, unfortunately, it's going to take both. Because we were talking about how, Scott, you've got these reflexes like a cat. And we're he's living up to his alley cat name, right? It started with the shoulders, but now it's just your reflexes. And so Kai did some shots that were solid. They were on goal. They were perfectly aimed, but just a tiny bit too slow when you're able to block it. So it's okay, so now she's got to work on the power. So I'm looking forward to this next set. I think it's going to be good because I've seen Kai when she's up against a corner, and she does a lot better. Right, so I'm excited because Kai's gonna shake it off. She's gonna give you a fight, but I've also seen you up against the corner too, and so this is gonna be really fun because you just need one more set and you close her out and you kick her out of the whole tournament, right?
I always really liked me and Scott matches. It was the snake versus the cat. Which one's gonna win?
Cobra Kai strikes. For anybody watching right now, there's a perfect time to throw a question in there. Or I just see that they're really just giving a lot of advice. They're saying don't shake Kai, you're doing good. From Vice, you threw that in there. You're doing great, Kai. Scott looks confident and cool is what we're getting in the chat right now.
Hey, I got it calm and smooth and after the first game, I saw that and I was like,
you can't just let Scott have this.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna fight for it. Even if I lose, I'm gonna go down fighting.
What I'd recommend is against me focus on the technicals of the game because it's gonna help a lot. Because I'm not the type of person that gets into all the rubbing it in type stuff. So just focus on the technicalities of the game and keep your head there. Don't get distracted by any of the emotions or anything. Yeah, you'll do much better.
We got Alex in the chat saying Kai rocks. The own goals are killing her game.
It's bad.
Scott is in command now though, no question. We got someone else saying remember slow it down, set it up. And then lastly, and this will be a question for both of you, what was your favorite match that you've ever played?
I'd say probably to this day my match against Andrew Sneed. I think my first challenge match against Andrew Sneed was my favorite.
Really?
Still, to this day. Yep.
How come?
I don't know. He's really enjoyable to play. He's fun to play. I get a lot of experience playing him, and he always surprises me, with certain things he does. So, yeah, I'd say for those 2 reasons.
I will say I love those games and hate those games because they're so fun and nice to play someone that's nice. Because Andrew Sneed's super nice. Yes. But then when it comes on the actual line where it's both of you are now at Worlds or something and you have to face each other, it's no, I don't want to face him. I want him to win. Yeah. Because he's such a nice guy. So I love those games and I hate those games. I want to play if I'm playing a real serious game, I want it to be against a complete stranger I've never seen before. I want to crush them and walk away and not feel nearly as bad as knowing that it was my bud, right?
Yeah. Well, and speaking of strangers, Nathan, how would someone who hasn't played this before want to get involved and join in to this kind of...
That's a fantastic question. So we are known as the American Area Hockey League. There's also the USAA, as you can see behind us all over the banner here. And so there are many Facebook groups you can join, and you can find local players in your area. Local tables. There's an app that we all use that people map out where all the tables are at because they're kind of hard to find. It's hard to find a really good table that's sanctioned for gameplay, that's a good brand, that's out in the wild, right? And so it's sort of becoming harder and harder to find them. I actually just recently went to 3 places in town that used to have tables that don't anymore. And so what you would do is you would try to find players in your local area. There's a lot in Texas. There's a chunk here in Idaho. There's a whole mess of people over in North Carolina. Shout out to my homies over there in North Carolina. And so even in this chat right here, if you're like, hey, is anybody in my area at such and such, I'll let you guys know. And it's growing and growing and growing. When I first started playing in Idaho, I was the only player here. And I found out there's one other player in Oregon. And so then him and I started competing, and now it's grown from there over in this area. So if you're in this area, let us know, and you can challenge somebody, and you can take their state and world rank from them if you beat them. I will say it's a lot easier said than done. Kai, what was your favorite match?
I've only ever done one like actual challenge match before, and that was Gabe. But
and you won that, so you're at
I did win.
You're at 100% win strategy.
I'm on a 1-for-1 win rate right now. I think my favorite person to play, like I guess, a different answer would be like my favorite person was Sam. Because you'd get into that game and it's no mercy, but outside of the game he'd come over like, all right, so you're doing this, why not try this instead? Yep. And that's like he taught me how to block, how I do now.
He had never beaten me until I had a birthday at the arcade and invited some family over.
I think I was there for that.
And he played me in front of my family, and he beat me for the first time. And so he's just like, on your birthday, I beat you. And then he came over to the house, and it was our first game while playing at the house. And he beat me. He was like, I beat you on your birthday. I've beaten you in your own house. Like he was a hoot. I miss Sam a ton. All right.
He's in the chat.
Is he in chat?
Because I'm the best.
He's sort of like Beetlejuice. If you say his name too many times, he sort of manifests. So you gotta be careful with that guy.
He just sits there silently and waiting.
He just waits for his name to come out.
No, he used to be so mean to me. But then he'd he'd sit there trash talk the entire game.
Yep.
And then like I said, he'd come over give me tips on how to beat him. So
is that the worst? Because a part of you wants to punch him, and
on the
part
table.
Of you is like, thank you for giving me advice.
No mercy on the table, but off the table, he's a great guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man! All right, so we should probably have you guys pop into the next game here. Good luck on the next set. Kai, if you win the set, it goes to a third set. Scott, if you win this, you kick Kai out completely. Yep. So good luck to both of you on this next set.
Good luck, players.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in the booth.
I need to rewrap my fingers because I wrapped it too tight. My fingers are perfect.
I'm looking forward to this next set a ton.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see the players come back from a halftime intermission. A lot of times you see a drastic difference in play styles. After the jitters, after those first round matches.
I agree. It gives you a lot to think about. Even today, Anthony's here, and Anthony says, "I know how to beat so and so now," like somebody that he had lost to yesterday at the weekly. And we laugh at him a bit because we're like, then why didn't you win? But at the same time, we all know that that's what it means. You've lost, you analyze it, you can't sleep some nights. I've stayed up very late some nights going, how did I lose that? It was such a simple shot that was beating me. Why couldn't I block it? And so you dwell on it, you think about it the whole time, you go, oh, wait a second, I know how to block that now. And so hopefully that's what Kai has been able to do, and she can put up a big fight in this next game. I will say 7-5 is not easy to do against Scott.
Right. Well, and there's always a difference too from being on the table to watching from camera view. Camera view, it's easy to kind of analyze and see what they're doing wrong and be able to fix that mistake. But when you're on the table, it's a little bit harder to see what's going on.
Yeah. We had somebody doing the math. We measured the table once, and so he was able to calculate the speed and the reaction time. And I'm trying to remember what, but it was like a 20th of a second or something like that. Is the reaction time? It was between a 20th to like a 30th of a second. Is all they get to react.
All right, well, here we go.
Scott's got possession off the very bat. No, he loses it. Kai sets it up, goes to the right wall over, goes for a forehand, loses possession. Yeah, you don't want to do those forehands unless those are really dialed in. But I like the fact that she's trying different things, though, at least.
Right. Scott's got the puck.
Oh, but she's gotten possession a few times now. Okay.
It's going really back and forth right now. They both have about the same amount of time. In fact, I would want to say that Kai might actually have more time on the puck now coming back into the halftime.
Possession time is really, really huge. Because even if you don't score a single goal, it starts making the opponent more and more anxious. Oh, she scored on herself there. But like every time you hit it, they get more and more anxious because they feel like eventually you're going to get it in, especially if you have a whole lot of control over it.
Right, and so then a lot of times they'll start taking more shots because they feel like they haven't had any shots at your goal, and a lot of times that makes them miss shoot.
You can hear them talking to each other a little bit here. She says she'll
And
blame
you
it
know,
on that, and
she
scores a
went
goal.
and scored it, so it must be the truth.
You know, she's using the old tactic of distraction. See if it works for her.
You know, it's one of the best moves you can make is communication. I mean, in all warfare, communication's what wins it generally.
We've got somebody saying that they think the couch time helps with, helps to cut some of that tension. So they think that's, maybe contributing to why she's getting such good shots right now. Dang, that was a fantastic left wall under.
It does seem like Kai is moving a bit more too. So we'll see what happens. Scott's still, he's still doing about what he's doing before, but I will say he has a little bit less time with the puck.
Oh, he loses possession again. Oh, she goes for the forehand left wall under, and it worked.
He's really playing with her by putting it so far up there.
She's in the lead. This is the first time that she's been in the lead when there's this many points on the board. She's been up by 1-2 or something, but right now 3-4. This is a great change-up from her previous game. She gains possession again. She goes for that cross. It's narrowly deflected. She gets it back, goes for the right wall under and scores it.
There we go, 3-5.
Oh, he gets back with a cross, yeah, that was a cross shot again. It's just more of a cross straight. She's still in the lead, though. If she can just pull out 2 more points, she wins this game.
And the majority of the people watching are rooting for her, so it'd be great to see at least grab this game for sure.
Oh. It's actually changed now. It's a 50-50 in the polls. If you haven't taken a second, I would say wait maybe till after this game here, but grab a chance to vote on the poll of who you think is going to win between Scott and Kai. Oh, beautiful
Ties
forehand.
it up, 5-5.
Do you see that forehand cross straight just off of that? That was a beautiful shot from Scott there. It was leaving, and he, instead of saving it, he just went for the shot and nailed it.
It was really nice.
Is he gonna take the 6-pointer right here? Let's see what happens. He goes slow. It's not only deflected, but she steals it. Ah, lost possession. This is very close. She deflects. She could have saved that one. It's hard to commentate. It's moving very quick here. Scott sets it back up. He's going slower now.
I love that she got possession, but she shoots too soon after.
And see, she lost a point because of that. She had set that up instead of just shooting it. But now it's, I think that was over. Oh, and there it is, 7-5.
I want to say what I think happened there is when she got the lead, she wanted to close, and because of that, she didn't take her time after gaining control of the puck multiple times.
Yeah. He got her with a right wall over this time. It definitely wasn't
He had
a cut.
a couple really interesting shots there with the overhand.
Yeah. I mean, it's... I'm deflated. She was doing so good. She had a good, solid lead, and then he slowed it down, and she sped up. You see that change that happened right about the 5-4 mark? Mm-hmm. Is that she sped way up, and he slowed way down, and that made the biggest difference. Man, there's so many chats right now. It's hard to keep up with all these. I love this. Thanks, guys. Someone says she got soft hands, for lack of a better word. I know she's really good about transferring the momentum out of the puck. I agree with that. She also has a hurt finger right now. Actually, right after that set, she came up and asked if there was anything that she could use to numb her finger because it's hurting really bad, and we don't. So she just wrapped it. And so that's what, I don't know if you saw that while she was on the couch. She has a wrapped finger right now. We got a lot of people saying, yeah, Kai on that one. They were really cheering, hoping that she would win that one.
You know, funny enough, it's actually really easy to get injured while playing air hockey. I mean, you're running your hand either into the wall, into the puck, hitting your or you might even run your leg into the air hockey table itself. It's funny because you wouldn't think, man, air hockey's a sport where you're going to injure yourself. But even just yesterday when I was on the table, I hurt my thumb, ran it into the wall.
Yep. And it's kind of funny, but I shouldn't mention this, but that's how Sam and I met. We talk about this kind of often. He walks in the arcade. I do a beautiful right wall under. I let go of the mallet. It flies straight over and right into his most private area. Ooh. And yeah. So it happens where players will throw their puck on accident or their mallet on accident. Oh, Scott right away with the first possession. You can see that he's had
a lot of possessions.
Yeah, 5 first possessions now, I believe, if you include this game here.
I want to say that shot and the intensity in her eyes when she finished that shot, I can tell you right now, she's a different person on there.
I hope so. Scott gets her on, she kind of scored on herself on that one. It's sort of a double wall. But she was up, she got the first point. I will say these games are pretty dang close back to back. It's not like besides that 7-1 game, these games here have been very close.
Right. 7-5 is very respectable. If if you had one of the lower players playing against you, they're gonna go 7-1, 7-2. But if they're going 7-5 against you, that's really respectable.
Correct. Actually, this is why I'm saying that David is up and coming in Idaho. I think that right now he's probably second or third best because our games go 6-6 most of the time. Kai set it up really close to the line, but she went straight in to the middle, and then he gets her with that cross. That cross is so good. Check out how accurate this shot has to be to make it. She moves out of the way 1 inch, and he gets the score.
Right. And he brings it up there so far, and I would just love to see Kai just stuff him one of these times.
Do you hear the difference of sound when the puck hits their mallet?
Absolutely, because she backs it off, and versus when she doesn't, when she is offensive, it bounces back to him, right?
Well, it's not even just that. Their mallets they're using are made of different materials.
Okay.
So Kai's mallet is actually a dynamo mallet. When they had run out of the normal plastic, they used a different plastic. And so you can hear it. You see how high-pitched that sounds? And so her mallet is actually a lot harder of a plastic, which means defensively it's going to be a lot less productive.
Control.
Yeah. So his is a lot softer of a mallet, and it's going to give him an advanced defense, but hers is going to be a better for offense. But right now she doesn't need a better offense. She needs a better defense.
Right. How often do you see players swap mallets in matches?
It depends on the player. The higher ranked player, I see it happen very often.
Interesting.
There's some players that will never swap a mallet. They only have one favorite mallet, and there's other players that will swap 2 to 3 mallets a game. They'll swap them mid-game even. They go from a low top to a high top to choosing different plastics because you need a different play style for each opponent that you're against.
I like seeing how much more control and time she has with the puck right now. And she even faked right there for the shot. 3-4, now to 3-5.
Can she bring this back? Oh no, she goes for the double wall. It's blocked. She sets it back up. Goes for that right wall, dead center. It's blocked. I like
really nice defense with Scott there.
Beautiful stop, and then he repays the favor with a right wall over.
And that's even though we may be trying to favor Kai, you gotta congratulate
Scott
when you see a shot like
charges,
that.
takes possession of the puck at a detrimental moment, and he could close this game out right here. Does he? Let's see what he does with this. He read exactly what she was going to do and predicted it and charged and then got possession. It was a beautiful charge. I haven't seen him do any charges but one, and so right now he's at a 100% charge rate, which is kind of rare for a game. Ooh. See, she missed that one pretty badly there.
Well, and
that
you
one was
know,
dead
I want to
center.
say it's something I noticed with myself even when I went on the table today is, you know, if you haven't played in a while, aiming your right walls and left walls
Nice right wall
become a
over.
little more difficult.
Scott sets it up. Oh, she could have gotten that. And then it's 4-7. He takes the win, and that's exactly my point. That one got away from her. If she had not let that get away from her, who knows what the outcome would have been.
Right.
But she let that get away from her. It's now 4-7. And so he's now won 2 games. You can see that 2 games and 1 set. He only needs 2 more games to close this match out.
Whereas Kai needs 4 games to take back control.
I would say that at this point, I mean, even though these games are somewhat close, he does have a pretty heavy lead right now. I mean,
and you know, and
6
having
games to 0 so far.
Well, and having an injured finger too does not help, you know, and it's like, you know, you're already having a hard time, and then you have an injured finger, it's definitely going to make it more difficult to come back.
Right. I'm trying to think of the best shots that she's using against Scott.
Well, and that
She's
would be
got
my
that
question,
forehand
is
left
if
ball under was
you
really
were
good.
in Kai's position, what would you change up at this point to try to take back control?
Every time I'd get possession, I would not just hit it back. I would stop it. I would take my time. Maybe even call a timeout if she needs it. Right? Each player's allowed 1 timeout per game, and I would bring that puck to dang near the very middle of the table, on my side, not too close to the line, and I'd hit a cut or right wall under. Scott is susceptible to those. And then on defense, I would bring my defense up a little bit. He's still getting on the cuts and the crosses. If someone's getting on cuts and crosses, the answer is to bring your defense up.
Right. All right, game 3.
Player ready. Player ready. Game starts on my command.
Scott gets first possession. Oh, see, like that's when she could have dove on the table and gotten. She goes for the cross. It was very close, but not perfectly accurate. Nice block, but she didn't retain possession. Scott sets it up, goes for an off goal, misses again, brings it to the middle.
Nice touch there by Kai.
Oh no, he loses possession. That's kind of rare for him at this point.
Slow it down. Take the shot.
Okay, she's looking up. She's seeing where he's open. I like that. She does an off goal. And she goes for that cut, but barely misses it. Okay, that was not a good forehand though. There we go. Set it up. Nope, set it up.
Still 0-0. Anyone's game this match.
You know, so you're gonna see a lot of people in the chat saying set it up, and you're gonna see, you know, you hear us saying set it up a lot. And what set up means doesn't just mean put it in the middle of the table and take your time. It actually means set the opponent up. Sell them some sort of fabrication and get them to believe it. Make them believe you're gonna hit it one way when really you hit it another way. So like that right there, perfect setup. She got it to stop. She made it look like a right wall. She went straight with it. Let's see if she can do that again. That was better. Do you see how far out he is?
Right, he's trying to contest.
Because her possession time. She's got so much possession time happening right now. Oh no. But so much possession time that he's getting antsy. He wants it back. He wants the puck back, right? And so he's moving his defense way up there, and he's leaving himself wide open. All she needs now is 1 accurate shot, and she's got it made.
Now he's starting to slow it down, trying to keep possession of it as well.
We got one of our all-time greats, Matt Bentley, in chat saying, "Come on, Kai, don't fall for those pirate tricks." Scott's known here as the pirate. He's kind of a alley
He
cat
does
pirate.
do quite a bit of fakes. You know, it's I honestly, out of all the players I've seen so far, I want to say he fakes the most. That being said, it does seem almost readable with how much he does it.
It's right now the poll's 53% to 47%. There's 53 still on the Kai side. Got a lot of people in chat. They're saying that they believe in Kai. Matt in the chat also is adding his 2 cents, saying that, you know, Kai needs to add more deception to her shots.
She does. I agree. I think that would. I think there's, you know, we can see quite a few things that I believe would improve her game just from watching this match.
I love that shot from Scott there. You see, like, he blocks hers. It does a drift, and he pulls it into a cut.
Nice shot there.
That was good. Oh, she's looking at her hand. You can see that she's hurting.
Right.
Ooh, oh.
You know, that's one of the great things about air hockey. I mean, you can always see a way to improve, and that's what makes it great for the players here. You know, you got great players, and you can see the players who are at the top, but you can also see all the ways to get better.
Right.
Anyone can come out of nowhere, have absolutely no experience with this game, and learn and take some shots and get better and better each time they put the time in.
Fantastic cut from Kai. I'm being trolled by Caleb right now because he still feels that anybody could just walk in here. It's basically what I tried to do. I tried to go to Texas. I thought I could just walk in there and beat everybody, and I did not. It is actually much harder just to walk in and beat people. We actually do that, Caleb. We go to arcades. Oh no, she scores on herself, 6-3 now.
This would be a perfect time for a timeout.
Yep, she should call it. We'll go to an arcade, Caleb, both Spec and I, and offer random players $100 that they could beat us. And they'll say, what's the catch? We said there's no catch except we're pro players and the chances of you winning are very low. 7-4, Scott takes the third game. He only needs one more now.
You know, this is where most players, when their back's against the wall, just like an animal, they really come out fierce.
I hope she does. I hope that she puts in some fury in this next game.
You know, if it hasn't been working out till this point, that's when you have to put in a little bit of that change, right?
She needs to become ruthless, in my opinion, in this case. You know,
because real estate's the way to go.
The first game she lost, she was clapping for Scott, you know, and I find myself rooting for the opponent, and I think at this point she really just needs to dial it in. I'd actually love to give a shout out to our amazing friend Ruth Kamichek with Ruthless Real Estate. She's the best. You know, Caleb, you were there.
Listen, if you're looking for someone who's gonna find you your home, now I'm not talking a house, although she could do that too if you're just looking to buy and sell. But let me say, if you're looking for a home, she's the one you want to go with. You know, she's gonna make sure that you find the place where you want to be. You know, it's home is where the family is and whatnot. It's like you could be looking for a place and you think it's the right place, but you'll find out that there's all kinds of things that you didn't know, and she'll find those things for you, and she'll tell you why you do or don't want them.
It's not even just that, she fights for you. And so we lost our home in the fire. A lot of our family members did. You did. I did. And when it came to, Caleb's my brother, by the way. He's actually visiting, and he said, hey, would you mind if I sat in this week? And I'm like, yes, because one time he did it remote, and this time he actually gets to be here in person. But Ruth, she had an entire game plan for us. We just said, hey, we're going to check out Idaho. We're going to look at a few houses. And she had, I believe, 16 houses lined up for us in 2 days. 2 days, we went to 16 houses. And not only that, she actually had us go through, and she wrote the cover letter for us that she sent over to one of the houses that we really liked. And it was not even fabricated. It looked like it was fabricated because she basically said, hi, we're the best family. We just lost our home. We're really hoping that we could make your home our home. And it was amazing, and they accepted it. She fought for us. She helped us get this house, truly. And so Ruth is the best. You guys should give her a call, 208-965-3570. Let her know that you heard about her on the American Air Hockey League. This is right here, possibly the last game in this match. This is a match game if Scott wins this. And if he wins this will be an absolute blowout.
There we
match.
go. Kai gets the possession for once and makes the shot. She's already. She's feeling the pressure. She makes 2 in a row. She comes back out of nowhere. This could be it, folks. Where we see the comeback of a lifetime.
I hope she does. Okay, now we're seeing some energy. Scott now doing his best to slow it down. Did you see how she went forward instead of back? She actually attacked it.
She did, and maybe, I'm kind of wondering if the opponent didn't even tell her or give her some of the advice to just be a little more aggressive towards him. Because I'm definitely noticing a lot more aggression this match. Look at that, 3-0.
3-0.
It's like a whole new person is on the table right now.
I mean, the question now is, can she do that for 8 games in a row? Actually, it'd have to be 9 games, it'd have to be, it'd have to be 8 games in a row. Oh no, she scored all 5 points this game.
Don't let it get to you, because that's when it starts to really pull away,
Scott sets it up. Is he gonna tie this up? He does tie it up. 3-3 now. He's just putting his heel on her throat. That's what they tell you in the biz. If you are winning, do not loosen up. You need to put your foot on their throat and step. And that's exactly what I think he's trying to do right here, is close it out. Closing out a match is fair. Oh my gosh, she's now
And
scored.
it's really hard because you can see that like her confidence was 3-0. Boom, boom, boom. Confident,
She
confident,
scored
confident.
7
And then
points this game.
it
7.
then
She's scored 3 on herself and 4 on Scott. He's only scored 1 point this game.
I almost want to say that looked like a top, but maybe not.
I guess not. Scott gains possession. He could be... Oh, this is his chance to be in the lead for the first time this game. Oh, she almost got in there. He is. Now he's only 2 points away from closing out this entire match. Can Kai pull this off? She goes for a straight shot. She loses possession instantly.
Really bad position to be in, but she comes back with a really good counter there.
Oh, scores on herself. It's now match point to 4. Oh,
It's hard to
she
watch,
has
but
scored-
it happens.
She has scored 4 of her own points and 4 of his, 3 of his. She's scored 7 points this game.
And you know, it's like no matter how
And there
good
it
you
is.
are, it happens.
Oh, that is the worst. That is the worst. You're seeing the replay, but just now both players went and gave a fist bump. She's like, "You win." She's kind of excited for him. I'm not excited. That game bugs me. She was up
She
3
took
to
control.
0, and then she gave him all the rest of the points.
At the end of the day, she scored more that game than any other,
Than the other player did.
you know, and that's at least something
Man.
to be commendable.
Well, we're gonna be now moving over to the couch. This is the perfect time to throw your comments in there. I'm bummed out a bit. I wanted to see a win, and she was coming out of the gate really, really, really hot on that match, and then she lost the pressure. She had the pressure on him, and she lost it. I mean, she really did that by scoring on herself.
Yeah, so we'll move over to the couch, and you know, really love to hear what the commentators and the comment section have to say, and what they want to ask of the players.
If you haven't yet, please take the time to like and subscribe. Please take a second to throw a comment in there for these players.
Yeah, you know, family-friendly, you know, air hockey. You know, bring your kids, watch the show, join in, comment, ask questions. Fun place to be, and an enjoyable place to, you know, just watch some good battles
Agreed.
on the table.
Take a look at these games here. He won 8 games to 0, 7-1 in one game, but besides that one game 7-1, he never got her below 4 points. So still props to Kai for coming back in and giving a very good fight. Scott's next fight is going to be in a few weeks against Peter Kai, also known as Spec. In that game, he is considered the underdog for that game. Actually, now is a perfect time to take a look at the bracket, and you can see this current game that just happened. You can see the upcoming games. You can see next week's game, which should be a fun one to watch. Here's the bracket here. So you can see that Peter Kai is now going to be going up against Scott Arnold. And then next week's game, we're actually going to have a double header. It's going to be David versus Xander. And then whoever wins that is immediately going up against Anthony in the same day. So we're going to have 2 games in one next week. And so this is the game that you just saw here. Kai ended up losing this game, so she's entirely out of this bracket. And Scott moves on. The next game next week is David versus Xander. And then whoever wins that goes up against Anthony. And then on the 7th, it's going to be me versus Zachary, which will be a really, really fun game. So, all right, let's go out to the couch and take a quick moment to talk to our players.
Cable not connected, so
All right, we're back here with Scott. Scott, how did you feel about those matches in that game?
pretty good. Yeah, she definitely had a consistent score pretty much all those games. So, I mean, she's playing well. There's just a few key mistakes. I think the self scores actually got to her more than a lot of the other stuff.
Yeah, I do think that is one of those things that really, for any player, once you start to score on yourself, it kind of gets into your mental a little bit. I mean, and in that last game, she scored more than you,
Right.
just on herself. But, you know.
Almost, yeah.
What do you think she could have done a little bit different there?
Well, I think she could have definitely taken her time more, you know, focused on my weak points and just kept doing the same thing more, just with little small modifications. I think she might have tried to change it up too much during the game. That's something that always ruins my games during challenge matches. If I try to change anything up too much,
Sure.
it always ruins it. So I only do that outside of challenge matches now.
I want to say those matches would have been a lot closer too if without the own goals, correct?
Yeah, without the souls.
And so what could you have done differently?
That last game was crazy because she scored a grand total because she got 4 points and she, I believe, scored on herself 4 times. It was at least 3.
It's quite a few, yeah.
So she scored 7 or 8 points that game. In fact, the very first 5 points, 3 against you, she was 3-0, and then she scored 2 on herself. So the first 5 points were all scored by her.
Yeah.
And so it's like, no, you were doing so good, Kai. I mean, we were like, yeah, get him.
When it was 3-0, we were like, oh, this is it. This is the moment. This is the comeback.
So, I thought so too. In my head, I was like, well, maybe I can keep this going. But
It was nice to see too in the last couple matches there. You were coming up and actually doing a couple counters. In the first couple rounds and matches, that we didn't see almost any counters. There was a lot of defense, good defense, but no coming up. And the last match though, you were coming up a bit more, which was good to see.
I got a little
yeah.
bit cocky with the charging. I think that was my downfall.
your charging was actually good.
It was.
Your
That was a
biggest
good-
enemy was
good
yourself. That
choice.
game scoring on yourself. Like literally, if you didn't score on yourself those 3 or 4 times, that would have been a much different game because it would have been now 3 to roughly 3 or 4, right? And that would have been huge. And you had him 3-0. You know, and you scored 2 on yourself before he even scored 1 point. There was 5 points you scored before he even scored 1. So it would have been a much different game. You got some questions in the chat. People are asking how long both of you guys have played. It was funny. One asked how long Scott's played, and someone else asked how long you've played, Kai. So how long you guys played for?
I started, I'd say probably about 3.5 years ago. And then it was like a year to year and a half break.
Yep.
So I think I've been back for about 6 or so months, maybe a little bit longer. So total 2 years.
We mentioned that we're like, she was a beast of old, but now it's a question of old experience versus new experience. And he was playing as of yesterday at a weekly,
Yeah.
right? And so he's getting some really fresh experience. Scott, how long have you played for?
I think close to 2 years now, total. Something like that.
So you started playing before I took that break. So
Do you remember her when you first came in? I think that he came after
Yes.
you left. I would say you're like about a year.
no,
I came in when
there
she
were a
was
few
still there.
weekly. There were a few weeklies. Of
Oh, you did
overlap.
meet him. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, because I remember I showed up one day and you're like, we got this new guy. He's like, we call him the alley cat because when he started to eat, like, you were super excited about it.
So that's why he got that. You know, Matt Bentley named him that because he would do the shoulder thing. You know, he would pull the mallet back and his shoulders would pop up. You know, like a cat that was scared. And so Matt's like, we're calling him alley cat, and he was like, all right, deal. And we're like, oh, deal, okay. So we try to give nicknames. A lot of people just reject them. You know, Anthony, we called Womp Womp for a while because he would score himself, and we'd say Womp Womp. So we've got a lot of congrats to you in here, Scott, and a lot of people saying awesome job.
Thank you.
Yeah, we got Matt Bentley in chat. You got a whole bunch of people that have been popping in here, so I really appreciate everybody for giving us a second of your time and chatting in.
100%.
We can see here, you can see the scores, a lot of 7-4 games. Besides that 1-7-1, Kai, you never let him get you below 4.
It was consistent. Yeah.
Yeah, most games nowadays, because like everybody's been practicing a lot more, a lot longer.
Yep.
And most of these games, I just get in there and I don't expect to lose necessarily, but I'm not going in there like, oh, I have this in the bag, you know. But my number one goal is to have fun. First of all,
Yep.
I really enjoy this game. And sometimes, like, there's been a few people where they just focus on winning so much. I hate playing.
That's me,
like,
unfortunately.
I try going
Yep.
into games with I'm gonna have fun no matter if I win or lose. Like, that was
Yeah.
the most fun I've had in a while.
See, I got in trouble
And
for
I'm
that.
gonna go down fighting.
Chris Gibson yelled at me for that same thing because he's like, do you want to have fun or do you want to win? And I was like, both. And he's like, you can't have both, so pick one. And I was like, I want both. He's like, you're not Colin Cummings, right? Best one was like, so until you're Colin Cummings, you cannot have both, so pick one.
I'm gonna try.
And I'm like, oh, well then fun. He's like, all right, that's fine, but don't expect to win anything. And then I'm like, great. So in those games where I'm like, I want to have fun, I lose. And on the games where I'm like, I really want to win this, it means that no fun can be had, which sucks because it's a ton of fun, right? So
I noticed something for me though personally is if I have to strike that healthy balance because I notice I do better if I focus more on having fun but really focusing. If I get too intense, I consistently lose. So I don't know. I would say it probably depends on the person because like for me, fun is not goofing off or not taking it serious. It's keeping my mindset in a calm, relaxed state.
Well, and that's true because if you're really serious, you might tense up a little bit and your shots might be more choppy. But then when you loosen up, so having fun, that'll help loosen you up sometimes, and then your shots will actually be a little more consistent.
Yeah,
right.
That's why I have a problem with 6-6s so much. Yeah, is because I get too intense and then it throws my game off.
Agreed.
Like, half the time, 6-6s bring out the best in me.
Isn't that funny? It's called closing out a game, and so it's. You know, some people are like the Seabiscuit, I find, where like if they're losing by a lot, like you had that game where it was like 5-1 or whatever, and we're like, is she gonna Seabiscuit? Is she gonna suddenly come out of the gate? You know, and other people do good when they're only in the lead, and if they ever start losing, you go downhill from there. And you've got kind of a whole mix of people, and some have a really hard time closing out a game. I'm sort of to that extent against George Anderson. If I get really close to beating him, it's like I slack off a tiny bit because I feel like I have it made. He puts extra intensity, and then I end up losing. So it's like just that last second of like, I have to forget, nope, don't go easy. In fact, go harder. If I'm winning, great, go harder. If I'm winning, put extra, into it. So, any questions in the chat is a perfect time. Like I said, anybody can throw a chat in there. Or
I had a quick question.
Yep, go for it.
You got injured. How do you feel like that affected your gameplay at all?
So, yeah, it happened yesterday at work. It was like right as I was about to leave. It was like 10:30 last night or so. I think it did. I don't think it had a huge impact, but I think it definitely distracted me enough that
your mind wasn't fully there on it.
My mind wasn't fully on the game. I
Even
tried,
one of your
I tried my
scores.
best to, kind of push through it, but sometimes it just like I wanted to call a timeout to give my hand a break, but he had possession and.
Is that something that you're not allowed to do? You're not allowed to call a timeout unless you have possession?
The rules are you either have to have possession or the puck has to be out of play.
That's good to know.
For example, Kai scored a goal once, and then she let go of her mallet and she looked at her hand, which was legal because a puck was not in play yet. Not smart, but legal. Because he could serve it back. And she looked at her hand and she grabbed her mallet and she was ready. However, at that moment, she could have called a timeout. As soon as you score a goal, that puck is now out of play. Same thing as if it flew off the table or something. So while it's in the goal, it's not in play anymore. And so you could call a timeout. In fact, some players do that.
How many
just to get
timeouts do you
people's
have?
One per game. One per each game.
Okay.
So
up to for your 7 goals, that's a game.
Yes. So in this match, there were 8 chances for a timeout for both players, so 16 timeouts.
It would almost seem like a good idea to almost call a timeout maybe even every game.
It really depends. Some players will do it offensively, not defensive. They don't do it to collect themselves. If they're like really into a game, and let's just say it's 5-5 me against you right now, and then I score that next goal to not 6-5, I'll be like, yeah, timeout, and then I'm like, yeah, and a lot of guys will do that. They pump themselves up, okay, ready, right, and it's like, and then the person's like, okay, so it's like you already feel bad that you just lost that very important point, but now they're dancing around the room, and you're like, really? And so then you can, if you want to, call a timeout and do the same thing back if you want to, but I don't know.
Right, then you get inside each other's heads.
Yeah, and so that's the idea. So some people use a timeout to get in people's heads. I like to use it just to collect myself. If I find that my heart's going a little bit too quick, or if I'm jittery, or I'm losing points because of these micro movements that I shouldn't be doing.
Slow down, take a second, timeout, walk away, come back, destroy.
The Wiseman suggests that if you have 3 goals on you in a row, regardless of where they came from, yourself or the other opponent, if it's 3 goals on you in a row, timeout. No matter what. Like, no matter what, that's timeout time.
Gotcha.
So, we got people saying that you guys did amazing. So, awesome job on that. Scott, good job on those shots. You had some really accurate crosses. I was very impressed with those shots. Kai, you did this forehand randomly. The cross?
Sometimes I get a nasty forehand.
He pulls it too far over to the right, so then you come over this way just enough for it to go perfectly. I mean, they were very accurate shots, though. I mean, we were looking at them in slow motion.
One of the shots
you know?
she did, I want to say she took it up the side, but then she hits with her hand this way, hits off the field, and so it was a bank shot, but it was also almost like an overhand.
It was a forehand left wall under that you did.
It was
one
really
time.
interesting. Yeah,
it was really
cool.
good.
I know
it
I
was
got
good.
2 shots of the week. I know I got 2 of them. I counted them.
Oh, I didn't even look at the shot of the week.
Left over.
Oops. I guess
I
I,
know I
should be
got
paying
2
more
of
attention to
them.
that.
2 of them. I know I
Left
did.
wall over. That's like one of the hardest shots.
And I got 2 of them.
I'm awful at the left wall over. If I do them, it's usually on accident. so
So I'll go for them. I like 25, maybe 40% of the time I'll get them in.
I have an easier time with overs than I do unders, actually, on bank shots. At least in terms of feeling it and confidence in them, yeah.
I guess I spent a lot of time just really working that under, and now an over feels wrong to do. It's not my muscle memory. It's almost like going forward on a block rather than backwards.
Gotcha.
And so for me, I have to intentionally do an over instead of just do it. Like, if I just let muscle memory take over, it's always going to be unders.
Yeah.
If I do an over, it's on accident. And so then if I want to do an over, I have to be like very intentional. You can usually see it. Spec has been able to read it when I pull back a lot further. I hit the puck from further back, and I have to be really intentional about it to get it to work. Otherwise, I just can't do it, because it's like all my muscle memory is that one shot over and over again, not the over. Which is, like, by the way, a 1 inch difference on the table.
Yeah.
Or maybe 2 inches. It's so small.
I feel like my game will drastically improve once I can get the unders more consistent, actually. Yeah.
Kai,
This is my weak spot.
when you slowed down, you did so good. There's so many times that you would get it and just
I
immediately
was
hit
getting
it.
frustrated.
Like,
I was
no.
getting frustrated.
We
Like,
saw
why
the
won't you
frustration.
Go
Yep.
in and after about 3 or so off goals, I tell myself, no, you have to calm down.
Yep.
It's okay. It's not going into his goal, but it's also not going into your goal, and you have possession. It's okay to calm down, slow down.
We've had a lot of
Take a
talks
breath.
about that, of like anger versus intensity. And so it's like, I don't want to get angry per se, but I really want to get intense,
Right.
which a lot of people will see as anger. There's actually a lot of games that I'm like, I walk away from the table for a second, and people are like, whoa.
You get a popping
Yeah.
vein. You get a
Yeah.
very prevalent vein
And
right
people
down
be
the
like,
middle
hey,
of
you
your
need to
forehead.
calm down. You're really angry. I'm like, no, I'm not angry. I'm not mad at anything. I'm getting intense. I have to pump up my adrenaline, so I move faster. Like, I don't know if you've ever like heard me breathe when I'm playing. There'll be times I'm like, like I just gotta like breathe fast and make my heart pump. Like, right, I gotta get superhuman for a second.
Going Super Saiyan is what they would call that, correct?
This isn't even my final form. So, all right, guys. Awesome job to both of you.
you.
One last question. So Scott, you're going up against Spec next.
Cool.
In the bracket, and not next week, but on your guys' next week that's coming up. We can actually look at the bracket here in a second.
Yep.
What are your thoughts about that game?
Looking forward to it. Yeah. I think I just need to go back to an earlier version of my defense, which has been working the last couple weeks, and focus on. I think I need to go back to doing what I used to do on Spec more, which I kind of strayed away from recently, and we'll see how that works.
Yeah.
If you don't win this entire thing, I'm gonna be very upset.
Oh, isn't that?
Or at least get top 5. At least get top 5.
Okay, that's
Plan to at
such
least get top five.
that's
Yeah.
such a funny
because if
thing.
I'm gonna get beat, I'm gonna get beat by one of the best players.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what, like, I don't know what it is, but in my mind, like, like, I'm still like that number 8 player from 3 years ago. I don't know what it. I know I'm not. I am far from number 8, but I know in my head, like, in my head, I still am. So, like, in my head, I have to be beat by somebody who places higher.
Well, these
than
players
8.
are really good now, like especially the newer players too.
Yeah.
You
That's
bring up a
all
good
for us,
point.
yeah.
I'd actually love to ask this question to all the air hockey players out there, especially like the world ranked players, is that when you're beaten, do you want that person to win or lose? And I say this because I have such mixed feelings about it. Like, even the other day at the arcade, somebody beat somebody else, okay? Now I'm going to go up against that other guy that beat the other person. The other person came up and goes, beat him for me, right? Like, kill him for me. And I'm like, do you really want me to beat him, or do you want him to beat me so that way you know that you lost to someone that was super good?
Right.
And the person had to think about it. And I'm like, that's how I feel. So every time someone beats me at the World Tournament, I'm like, I want them to lose just because I want to see their butt get kicked. But I also really want them to win, because then I'm like, I'll never know how good I am because I was only one. If he wins the whole thing, then maybe I'm second place.
That's kind of where I'm at. Like, I mean, if you don't get any further, then oh well, you're still better than I am. But Like, I want you to do well.
Appreciate
I
it.
think you really deserve it.
Thanks.
So,
I want you to lose horribly if you go up against me, Scott. I just want you to know that. If it's me against you, horribly. No, kidding. So, good luck on your next game against Spec.
Yeah.
You are definitely the underdog in that game. This game, Kai was. That game, you're going to be for sure. And so good luck on that game. It'll be a fun one to watch. Next week, we got Xander versus David. And then immediately in the same day, we're doing the second game, which is going to be whoever wins that game versus Anthony. It's going to be a really fun match next week. And then the week following that is going to be myself versus Amoog, or Zachary, as he's also known as. And that should be a really fun game because he's getting really, really good. Didn't he get second place yesterday at the weekly, I believe?
Omuk?
Yeah.
He did
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah. So I'm going up against him in 2 weeks, and that should be really fun. So thank you all for watching. Please take a second to subscribe. I'd also like to take a really quick second to talk about Right Now Heating and Air Conditioning. These guys are absolutely incredible. They pride themselves on excellent service, and I can attest to that. Like I've said before, when our air conditioner died, and I actually lost one of my matches because of it. These guys came to the rescue and changed 2 different air conditioning units in 2 different attics, and they did it in an extremely quick time. They put on little booties. It's hard because like I always want to laugh that they're wearing these booties, but they do it just to protect the house, right? So they're upstairs in 170-degree weather in the attic, 170 degrees in the attic, wearing little booties just to make sure that I don't have a little bit of dust on my floor. While they're up there sweating their brains out and fixing the air conditioner units. It is very cold here. We keep it extremely cold for the players. So everyone that's not playing is like shivering in this house. And so you should give them a call, 208-585-5868. You can also visit rightnowheatcool.com. They're incredible. I definitely would suggest them.
test, I am freezing.
Yeah, the
Yeah, you're
AC is
freezing right now?
working really
Yeah,
well in here.
we're
The
right
only
underneath
time
the
I
vent.
was warm was when the game was happening, and you could feel the heat on that table. You know, they were really going at it, but
It really is
otherwise
cold.
is nice and cool in here.
It really, really is. They're epic. I mean, they even, just to take one extra second, they even went out of their way when they were looking at the our bathroom, and I asked him for some plumbing help, and he looked and saw a bottle of eczema lotion on the counter. This is when we first moved in. And he goes, does someone in your house have eczema? I shouldn't ask, like I shouldn't prod, but does anybody? I'm like, yeah, my daughter does. Her knuckles are cracked open and they will bleed. And he's like, well, that's just the water here. In this area, it's really hard water. You know, I don't want to upsell you, but just letting you know that one of the options is to get a water softener, and that's going to help that. And I'm like, okay, this guy's just trying to upsell me. I did some research. He was right. So he was able to spot a bottle of lotion. And then from that, he got us a deal on a water softener. And then from that point forward, no cracks on my daughter's skin. She can walk up and have soft hands and not be bleeding from her knuckles like she was. And I love that he saw that and was like, this is something that will help. And it was not from a point of like, ooh, I can make money. It was from a standpoint of, hey, does someone in your family have eczema? Because I have an idea for you. And I love that.
Right.
You know, keeping his eyes open and fix the plumbing issues as well. So those guys are incredible. That's it from us. I would like to say a giant thank you to everybody, to all of our fans that are watching. From all of us at the American Air Hockey League, we'd like to wish you all a good night. Bye, everybody.
Have a good one.
Bye.